Question number 35 is a question on grammar, punctuation. The simplified version of the sentence, if you wanted to just completely remove this list in the middle, it would be the designer envisions elements and is a force. What kind of a force? A creative force behind the video game. But basically, if you remove this list in the middle, then that's what it would look like. And so if you want to insert the list in the middle, there are a couple ways you could do it. You could use an M dash, for example, and completely surround this list, the three things that you have, with an M dash. And that's exactly what C does. It sets apart this phrase, this list, and you've got the M dashes on either side, kind of like quotation marks would do also. But if you leave it the way it is, a colon should end in the list. So you could say the designer envisions the game's fundamental elements, and then have a list of the three things and period. You would have the independent clause, the list, comma, 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 period. But you can't, if you're using a colon, you can't continue to talk about you can't continue with the second half of the sentence. You would have to end it here with a period. So that's why we need to make a change here. Here, if we're going to have an M dash, you would need to have matching pair, just like quotation marks, and we don't have that in B. C is the correct way to do it. D, this completely fails the semicolon test, because semicolons should separate independent clauses. Anytime you use a semicolon, you've got to make sure that what you are separating can stand on its own as an independent clause, as its own sentence. You should be able to replace the semicolon with a period and have it make grammatical sense, but you can't. Although the stuff that comes beforehand would work, the designer envisions elements, period. What goes in between would be just a list of things, and it's not a sentence. You can't just say the settings, characters, and plots that make each game unique. That's not an independent clause, so you can't choose D.